And I do share some of Senator Hawley's concerns. There's always an issue for us as lawyers. We have to represent our client. That's the ethical standard. I guess my complaint is with the hedge funds. It's pretty astonishing to buy up distressed securities with a specific intention of trying to get an inflated value through litigation. But to some extent, that's on us as well, what the laws of bankruptcy are and what the laws that should apply to what I think is incredible profiteering that happened by those hedge funds at the expense of the impoverished people of Puerto Rico. It's just really, really appalling. But I don't know that we can hold any individual lawyer accountable for the reasons you mentioned. I do want to ask, we've got some distinguished prosecutors here, and I was a public defender. I have enormous respect for the work that you do in the judicial system, and I have enormous respect for the work public defenders do as well. As judges, you will play a major role in the culture in the courts about respecting the services of the folks who are in your job, but also the public defenders, the probation officers, the court officers. I'm very distressed about what happened to the public defender budget last year. They got stiffed, and it is going to result in cuts unless that is corrected in the current appropriation, which my hope is that it will be. But given the major role you play in respecting the elements of the judicial system, I want each of you, the prosecutors, to tell me how you see the role of public defender and how you will, as a judge, make certain that that continues to be a critical component. And I'll start with you, and we'll go to the right. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I do recognize the important role that public defenders play in the criminal justice system. Although I have spent the majority of my career working as a prosecutor, while in private practice, I did work as a criminal defense attorney as well. And from that perspective, I gained, a particular appreciation for the difficulty that criminal defense attorneys, the particular difficulties that criminal defense attorneys face in that work. I will also say that as a prosecutor, I've taken an oath as an AUSA to uphold the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And for me, that has meant safeguarding the constitutional rights of defendants. And I take that part of my role incredibly seriously. If I were so fortunate as to be confirmed, I would use both those experiences. My time, admittedly brief, but still significant in my mind as a criminal defense attorney, and my work as a prosecutor balancing the needs to advocate the United States while also safeguarding the rights of the defendants.
Thank you.
Senator, I share Ms. Alexakis' view on this also. I have always seen it as being within the interests of the United States to uphold every amendment to the Constitution, including the 6th Amendment to the Constitution. And so I have been privileged to count among my colleagues federal public defenders. And I have worked with federal public defenders on several large initiatives, including ensuring the right for defendants to have counsel even in situations where perhaps under statutes or the law they would not be entitled to them. So for example, I collaborated with the Federal Public Defender's Office to draft a general order that allowed for representation for defendants bringing claims under the First Step Act for compassionate release, and most recently under the Sentencing Guidelines retroactive amendment.
Thank you very much. Judge?
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. I share my fellow nominees' comments. I know we're short on time. I'll just add that as a former federal prosecutor, I represented the United States in almost 1,500 matters. And in every single one of those cases, I was thankful every single time when there was a defense attorney who appeared in the case, competent, ready to go. I always felt as a prosecutor that it was fundamental that a defendant's rights were well protected.
Okay. Thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator Welch, and thanks to the nominees.